And welcome to Season 2, Episode 16 of the podcast. You may not agree with us,
But
I'm Maris Lowery.
and I'm Eric Thomas.
And we have a very special guest, Mike Green from New River Community and Technical College, which we will talk basketball in a minute. But before we talk basketball, Eric, we have to bring the curtain down on the high school football season that played last weekend in Charleston. And 3 of the 4 games went down to the final play.
Yeah, and it was a great 4 games. You know, even the blowout with Wheeling Central, they had to come from behind to even win the game. They were down 20-7, and then their running back put up amazing numbers. You know, in the second through fourth quarters, and they pulled out a big win.
Yeah, Martinsburg defeated Morgantown 28-21. The game ended with Morgantown at the 2-yard line. Then you had Princeton beating Nitro in Class AAA 36-35 as Nitro goes for 2, comes up short. And then you had Frankfort in the final seconds beating Bluefield 49-42. And as you mentioned, Wheeling Central beat Clay Patel 56-34, but they did have to come from behind. And like I said, the young man for Wheeling Central, his name escapes me right now, but he had, I'm sure that was a state tournament record, state final record. He had 41 carries for 415 yards and 7 touchdowns.
7 touchdowns. I mean, and every one of them needed to secure the victory. And just rewind a little bit. The Morgantown-Martinsburg game was a slight upset, you know, because Martinsburg's the king. But Morgantown did it with a youth movement. We had a chance. Beckley played them in the playoffs last year, and I knew they were going to have a solid team because their quarterback was a freshman. And anytime you have that returning, and he turned out to be the best player in the game.
And it showed the ratings really upheld because you had 3 number 1 seeds win and Princeton the lone number 2 seed that won.
Yeah, and my message to all the area teams, I don't want to hear any crying about the rankings and how they are, because most coaches have great, or either the AD or real good friends with the AD, start scheduling now, because you don't get penalized for playing up a class. You can only enhance your status, as Bluefield did. Bluefield secured the number 2 ranking even after losing Independence because they played Beckley, Greenbrier East, yada
Princeton,
yada yada.
Princeton. Right. Yeah, and one of the things I did tell Mike, I did tell Eric when the playoff, when the pairings were released, I said Bluefield's going to go to the championship game. Didn't know if they'd win it, but they're going to the championship game.
Yeah, you did, and I remember, Mike. This is going to crack you up because me and Maris go back and forth. He looked at me as soon as the brackets came out. He said, "Bluefield's playing in the state championship.
They're going to play in the championship game."
And I said, and that's when we usually agree to disagree on a lot of things. But I really like Max Simpson. I can remember his name because even in defeat in the Independence game, I'll go on record, and I said this after the game, thought he was the best player on the field.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Well, I know I'm here to talk about basketball, but I got one note.
Okay.
The 415 yards, the state tournament record.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know who he broke?
No.
Judah Price.
From Independence, I did not know that.
Yeah.
300.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He did, because Judah did that in the state championship game against, when they won it against
Fairmont Senior.
Fairmont Senior.
Yeah.
It was 379
Against
yards.
Herbert Hoover in the championship game, right?
Yeah,
Or,
Herbert Hoover.
Herbert Hoover, the team
Herbert
they beat,
Hoover,
right?
yes.
Fairmont was in the semifinals.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
But that's the record he broke.
And you know, Mike, I know you're talking basketball, but I also know you know a little bit of football because
Yes.
you follow it and you kind of keep up with this. And we're going to get into basketball in a minute. But before we actually do bring the curtain down on football, do you have a final take on this year in football season in the state of West Virginia?
No, I follow what you all said, and like I said, I think it was another great season for our local teams. You know, obviously Bluefield, Independence, it was a great, entertaining season, and looking forward to next year.
Now we're ready to flip the switch to basketball. Before we do, I want to let you know that the podcast is brought to you by Window World of Beckley, also by Modley's Plumbing and Heating. You can dial up Modley's at 304-253-HELP, and by Cracker Barrel. The Old Country Store had lunch at Cracker Barrel today, and they have some delicious food. Well, Mike, as we finish football, we're looking forward to basketball. Eric and I had an opportunity to cover games for video production over the weekend at Shady scrimmages, and a lot of the teams that we saw over the weekend in the scrimmages will be participating in the New River Invitational Tournament. So I'm going to let you kind of take it away, and whatever it is you want to talk about the tournament, the teams involved, what's going to happen. This is your time to tell all of our viewers what's going on with the New River CTC.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. And again, thank you all for having me. It's always a pleasure to come here. This is, I think, the second year that you had me here to talk about it. And again, I just, as always, this is our 8th annual event. We started with a one-day shootout with 8 teams. We had 4 games. Now we've grown into 5 days with more than 30 teams and 21 games during the week. I want to first thank our sponsors, our presenting sponsors again this year are Little General Stores, as well as the Southern West Virginia Chevy dealers. The 5 dealerships that represent that organization are our presenting sponsors, along with a host of other sponsors that we couldn't do what we do without their support. So first I want to thank them, but then secondly I want to thank the coaches and the school administrators, the support that these coaches provide us. They give me the flexibility to make the schedules. There's really no restrictions. But again, we try to make good matchups to where they're not teams that are playing 3 or 4 times a year outside of the section or regional. I will say this year we did have a little more challenge just because of the reclassifications,
Right.
and the regions that were realigned. So it was a little more work. We were a little later getting our schedule completed this year, but I'm excited for the week and looking forward to a full week of basketball.
And the one thing about it, Mike, and I'll have Eric jump in here in a minute, as you're talking, I'm looking at the schedule, and I know you and I had talked a couple times in your office, and I know you had to change the schedule a couple times, but I like about it, you have a blend of a lot of local schools, but also some schools like Martinsburg and other teams that have to travel a great distance to come here to play.
Yeah, and that's the key. I mean, that's the key for us. Obviously, New York Community Technical College, we represent 10 counties here in southern West Virginia. And of those 10 counties, we have 19 area high schools. But a lot of those teams are playing regional opponents, and depending on the classification. So for us to continue to have the success we've had, we have to be able to bring in 5 or 6 schools from outside of this area. And that allows us to get matchups that probably don't occur on a regular basis. So another one of the strong draws that we have about the event.
So the thing the point I want you to get across to our viewers is because a lot like me, it started out with a 1-day shootout. So do you trying to duplicate an early season state tournament atmosphere? Because a lot of these teams that I go down through the years, a lot of these teams end up seeing a lot of the other teams in the state tournament, or a lot of teams are they knocking on your door now or calling you up saying, hey, we need to get in this tournament?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of interest into it, and again, we started this event really as a way for New River Community Technical College to get involved, get in front of the parents, to talk about all the great things that we offer here at New River. We are recruiters and our admissions folks. We're doing a great job getting in front of our students, but we weren't getting that message home to the parents. To talk about the low cost tuition, to talk about the West Virginian best free tuition and so forth. So growing up around sports, at that time coaching basketball at a high school level, I knew that we had an opportunity to get in front of parents to talk about the benefits of New River. So yes, it started as a 1-day event. By year 3, we had already expanded to 4 days.
Yes.
We had already had, I think, 6 games, and it was growing a little too fast. So we kind of slowed down a little bit. We still went 5 days, but we capped it at 4 days a game, 4 games per day. And again, so yes, we've been fortunate. I think we've had in the 8 years, we've had 11 state championship teams play in our event that went on to later in March to win the state championship. So I think the convention center with the open air backdrop, there's only 1 or 2 facilities in the state that gives those teams who are looking to compete for state championships the opportunity to play in those larger convention center arenas.
And the date of your tournament this year, January the 5th through the 10th. And the thing I like about this, Mike, that it's not set up like in a tournament format. It's when you're going to play. You don't have to worry about, if I win, I play at this day and this time. If I lose, I play this day and this time. No matter win, lose, or draw, depending on how many games you get, you already know when you play.
Yes. Yeah, and that's, again, the predictability. And knock on wood, we've been very fortunate. I think in year 2, our first game of that year 2, I think it was on a Friday, went to double overtime, and it put us back. But again, for the 7 other years, we've been on time. We've been very punctual in our start times, and that's one of the things that coaches really appreciate. Fans appreciate it. The convention center staff and my staff, they appreciate it.
Broadcasters appreciate it too.
So yeah, it's been a blessing. We've been very fortunate, and I can tell you that as long as we continue to generate the interest that we generate, as long as we can continue to get teams that want to come and participate, I will say that I never thought we'd be here 8 years and continuing to grow, but here we are, and I'm looking forward to the week of basketball.
All right. Some of the most questions that I get, and I don't know if you get these same questions, but first of all, when it comes to ticket sales, first of all, how much are tickets, and will one ticket get you in for the whole day, or do you got to buy multiple tickets? I'll just let you answer that because I'm sure you get those type of questions too.
Yeah, we do, and I can tell you that we've been very intentional Our tickets remain for the last 3 years. Our ticket prices not went up. It's $5 for students, $7 for adults, and that ticket, one ticket per day, will get you into all games, depending on the days. There's one day we only have 3 games, but the other days we have 4 and 5 games.
All right, another question that I get and I'll just use Saturday as an example. As you got, I know the Special Olympics starts there at 11:30, but you come in, say, to watch the 1 o'clock and the 2:45 game, and you don't want to stay for the 4:30 or 6:15 game, but you want to come back for the 8 o'clock game. Will that one ticket get you the whole day, or do you have to buy another ticket?
Nope, one ticket will get you all day. When you come in, we take your ticket, we stamp your hand. That way you can come in and go however you please.
Now, will there be advanced ticket sales?
Historically, we do have advanced ticket sales, but with the convention center, they've changed their ticketing system.
Okay.
So last year we could not do advanced ticket sales, but I think they have that worked out. But if there are advanced ticket sales, it'll be through the Raleigh County Convention Center.
And I would think most people that come, it's a big walk-up crowd anyway, wouldn't you say, as opposed to advanced ticket sales?
Yeah. And then with our sponsors, we get comp tickets for our sponsors. So,
Right.
We probably have 250 tickets that we give out to our sponsors and things of that nature. But yes, as a general rule, it is a walk-up crowd.
Of course, the one thing that it really put a damper last year was the weather, and I was at fault of that because I said the previous years the weather had always been good. So I'm going to go on record and say the weather's going to work out fine, and we're going to be fine January 5th through the 10th.
Yeah, no, like I said, it was disappointing last year, but again, the previous 7 years, we didn't have any weather issues. We lost one game during the year of COVID, and you all will probably remember, but we pushed it back to
Right.
May. The year of the COVID, but yeah, we're excited, and again, if the weather comes in, we're going to deal with it. We'll be prepared for however it is, and even last year, a lot of the county superintendents worked with us to give some flexibility on the days of play. But the weather was severe, and I'm sure you all remember.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't anything that was really on the edge. It was pretty obvious that it wasn't safe to have folks out on the road.
Yeah, I definitely, in my other job, was out in it, and I would text Maris and go, I don't think they're going to be playing any games this week.
Yeah, I can really refer to Eric when I need to know, are they going to have school? Eric's out on the roads. He's like, hey, it's getting too bad. I don't foresee school tomorrow. I don't think we're playing tomorrow. We're supposed to broadcast this game. I don't think that's going to happen tomorrow. I get a heads up. But nothing too, Mike. The way you've got this you got boys teams, girls teams, you have it broken down. Like I said, it's a fun week of basketball. You've got a lot of teams. This is really a great event.
Well, thank you. And like I said, it's a team effort. I have 19 people that are in my department, and all 19 of those are involved in this. I have kind of delegated, and I'm not as hands-on as I once was, but I do still am in communication with the coaches. I still do, make sure that we got great teams and great matchups. And again, for any of the coaches that are out there listening, thank you. I mean, we could not do what we do without the support of our high school coaches and the high school administrators and county folks. So thank you all again.
And you have a great staff, which I know most of them, by the way, under this shirt. I have a New River shirt, by the way. I have the long sleeve. I have T-shirts from every year, and I know when it established 2019, and it's got all the teams on them. And I wear, as you often see me when I come to your office, I'm sporting the New River T-shirt. But now it's so cold, I do have the long sleeve on up under this. But I'm looking forward to it. Eric and I are fortunate enough that we're able to broadcast some of these games with video productions.
Yeah, and the thing I like about it, and I've watched it grow, but I like his staff. They're so accommodating, and I'm telling you that. I mean, the players and the way you guys feed the kids, whether it's Subway, Chick-fil-A, or anything like that, man. And I just think it's a top notch. I think it's the premier beginning of the season tournament in the state.
Yeah, to me, it's like Eric touched on. It's like the state tournament. Like, if you think you have aspirations, which a lot of teams do, that they're going to make the state tournament, you want to play in this, and it kind of gives you that state tournament kind of atmosphere in January. Because most teams have only played 5 or 6 games before they get into this event. So after they get through this event, now they're ready for the back half of their schedule.
Yeah, well, and like I said, our staff is amazing. But yeah, no, again, so we're looking at. We try our best to put on a great product, a great show. Again, from not only the post game meals, not only we give everyone a we give every participating player a T-shirt. We give them a post game meal. In addition to that, because of our sponsors, we're able to provide each participating team a $1,000 scholarship for their students for their post-secondary education. And then also, one of the most exciting things for me is we give $1,000 to the team with the most outstanding cheering section, and that goes to their project graduation committee.
Which is great, yeah.
So I mean, like I said, it's a great event, and at some point, we'll talk about some of the matchups, but we've got not only I think we announced today in our press release that there's 11 teams that are in the top 10 in the preseason rankings in the boys. We didn't mention the girls today, but 4 of the 6 teams are in the girls divisions are ranked. So yeah, we should have another great event minus Bear Spring in the week.
Well, Mike, as you're talking, I'm looking at the schedule. Of course, we'll get started at 2:45 on the first day, Monday, January 5th, and you got Webster coming down to play Sherman. Don't recall Sherman ever playing in this before. They knew.
Yep, this is the first time the single A Sherman Tide. They wanted to participate last year. We couldn't get them in, so I told them I'd make sure we got them in this year.
In your second game, Nitro against Liberty, Eric and I had a chance to call Nitro's scrimmage against Beckley over the weekend. And Nitro, Eric, I think you'll agree with me, going to have a pretty good team.
Yeah, you're talking about length. They have guards. They have well coached, and they're coming back. They were the Brides. They were runner up last year. So I think they're on a mission to try to get back and cut the nets down.
Yeah, Coach Lowe's done a great job.
Yes.
I mean, I think he's been in the semifinals the last 2 years. In the
He
state
made the
tournament.
championship game last year.
Yeah. So, and again, this is a relationship I built with him
Right.
at the state tournament. So,
Yeah.
we tried to get them up last year. It didn't work scheduling, so he held some games for us this year, and we're glad to have them there for 2 games this year.
Another team that Eric and I got to see over Shady over the weekend, and now it's AAA school, South Charleston. And I think being down from the big class into the AAA, because when there was 3 classes, obviously they were in the big class. Now that they have slid down, I think South Charleston's going to create havoc and have a really good shot in Class AAA.
Yeah, and I didn't watch them play at Shady, but Coach Daniels thinks they got a shot to make a run in AAA this
And
year.
he's absolutely right. And I just love his style, the way he coaches. And usually with South Charleston, and this being when you played in high school, they always have the talent, but sometimes they don't look like they're as coachable kids. This group, wouldn't you agree, Maris? They seem tight.
They do.
They look like it's a team effort, not one person, just trying to be outside the team. And I think they have a real shot to do some work in March.
Another team that Eric and I saw over the weekend, James Monroe, that you have in. I was very impressed with what I saw out of James Monroe this past weekend.
Yeah, Coach Kelly, man, I mean, I think he's really taken over from Coach Savage and really instilled continued that winning tradition there at James Monroe. But again, we're talking before we get past, we got Nitro and Shady Spring that's playing later in the week. So
Right.
2 great AAA schools. But yeah, going to be some exciting matchups.
And also, I have to mention, you talked about the girls. I did see where Wyoming East were the #1 girls team in a preseason poll in AA, and you got them playing Beckley, and you got Wyoming East and Beckley and girls, and then Beckley boys and South Charleston. That ought to be a really good session. They play back to back.
Yeah, and again, having that flexibility, having the autonomy to actually create the schedule, and again, obviously we're as an alumni and a graduate of Woodrow Wilson High School and a 1992 member of that state championship team, I'm hoping that the Beckley crowd will come out and support both teams this year.
Well, I have to say this about the student section. I know there's one person that lives in this household that is front and center, always in the cheering section. So, Woodrow Wilson girls are coming off of a state championship cheerleading thing.
Yes.
So I think they'll show up to the game just to bring the hardware.
And one of the things, Mike, of course, video productions, we cover Raleigh County, but we cover a lot of teams. And the fact you have all 4 high schools, you have Independence, Liberty, Beckley, and Shady, all 4 participating in this. And that's the way it should be. And of course, video productions is proud to be a part of this and cover all these games, but we also have the 4 high schools that Eric and I cover on a regular basis in football and in basketball.
Yeah, and like I said, from county administrator, coaches, school administration, again, we have 18 area public high schools in our 10-county service region, and I think this year we have 15 of those 19 participating. And ultimately, going back to the roots, that's what it's for us. I mean, we're trying to expose those high school students with educational opportunities post-secondary.
And not only you get Greater Beckley, also here in Raleigh County, from the private school, also they're involved in this as well. So it's good. You've got all the local touch here.
Yeah, no, and like I said, going down into Mercer County and Summit Christian and Princeton,
Right.
Bluefield's one of the ones that we haven't had back in a couple of years. the last couple of years, we're working to try to get back on their schedule and get them back up here.
Well, it's good to always have some of the old teams, but like Sherman, it's good to have some new teams too. It's always good to have, you sprinkle in a little of the old with a little bit of a new and kind of mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, well, and like I said, it's good for us to have some variety. And again, this year,
Right.
Man's coming back. This is the second time Man. Logan and Coach Hatcher, this will be the second time Logan's played in the event this year. I think they're ranked in the top 5 in AA as well. So yeah, I mean, we're excited to have, and I'm excited to have Logan up just for that old 1990s tradition.
Yeah, right. Logan and Beckley.
And I told Coach Hatcher that maybe next year we'll get a little better matchup for him as far as something.
I mean, but that's what's good. And if you think about it, I mean, everyone loves their section of the state, but this is the hotbed for me. Growing up here, I'll go into the old Mullins Gymnasium, watching Woodrow, back in the day, going to Beckley games. I just think Southern West Virginia is where it's at when it comes to basketball.
Mike, here's what you should do. One suggestion. You should take your alumni team when you were in high school, play against the Logan alumni team as part of maybe in the Wednesday night session of this event. And now it's been over 30 years since y'all have been in high school, and you guys play like about a 2-minute alumni game.
That'd be a half-court game.
Yeah,
okay?
about 2 minutes, right?
I'll say we have an exceptional paramedic and EMT program. I'll make sure that all of those paramedics and EMT would be on site that night for that game.
We have Mike Green from New River Community and Technical College, and Eric, we need to do what with this podcast?
Like, share, and subscribe. Find us on YouTube at Warden Broadcast Network, and also on Facebook.
And Mike, I say I'm facing Eric's book, and also we'll have this on Video Productions platform as well. As Video Productions will be the streaming company that will cover all these games. We're looking forward to that. Of course, legendary voice Bill O'Brien will be with us. Mark Montgomery will be with us. We think we'll have Mark Martin. I talked to Butch Mount's owner today. We discussed a little bit of this and told him I was seeing you tonight. And I said, because he kept asking me, was the schedule complete? And I said, well, I met with Mike in his office, but he's tweaking a few things. I said, we might as well not get it now. And then he has to call and say, we're changing this, changing that. Just wait till it's completed, and then we'll get it. We have time, and we're looking forward to this.
Yeah, well, and as you said, with this, normally I have the schedule finished by September of last year, or by the summer of this current calendar year. But this year, I mean, we actually changed Saturday's games as of last Friday.
Because I remember when you and I were talking in your office, you're like, well, you got a few tweaks that you still got to make.
Yeah, it was James Monroe. They're playing outside of our tournament on Friday night, and I had them playing early Saturday.
Right.
So
That'd have been tough.
Yeah. But yeah, again.
But guess what? State tournament might be a turnaround like that, though, early on.
And the thing that I like too is as you guys were talking, I look at this, Mike, where you got Martinsburg down on a Monday and Tuesday, and it's nice that they're able to come down. Because I'm sure they're in school that day. That their administration in their county allows them to come down here. I'm sure they have to get out of school, have to travel that morning, so their kids won't go to school, and they're going to play back to back. Because you're coming that far, you don't want them to have to stay for too long. So I think that's pretty neat that their county allows them to do that.
Yeah, and Coach Rogers has been great. Last year was the first year they were supposed to come down and play in this event again. That bad weather word that happened last year. But so Martinsburg. We've had Musselman come down from Eastern Panhandle.
I remember that we did that game. They got Beckley late in that game.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So again, very very fortunate to have the interest from some of these high schools outside of our local area.
Yeah, and I'm sure you have the best of the best officiating because this is a premier tournament, and the top officials want to be a part of this.
Yeah, and we've been fortunate, and I would agree, and that's how we evaluate that as far as we want the best teams, the best experience, and part of that is having not only being on time, not only running an event, but having top class officials, and I think we do a good job in finding those officials.
I think you do an excellent job. One question I have for you, and I pose this question to you because it's posed to me, and people ask me all kinds of things, and I'm like, really, you need to ask Mike because he's the guy that handles this. But they're like, well, they don't have the access to you that maybe I have, so that's why they ask me. Did you ever think, or will you think, considering in the future of incorporating middle schools into this?
Yeah, we had middle school. I think 2 years ago, we had the Independence, Greater Beckley, and Mullins.
Yeah, that's right. We did a couple years ago. I do recall that.
And not only did we have them, we made them the premier game on Saturday.
That's right.
We did.
That is correct.
Had Mullins and Independence, and it was the biggest crowd we had.
I remember that. Yes.
And what's wild about that game, I remember watching it because I don't think I broadcast that evening. Something went down.
It was your birthday, maybe.
It was, as is this Saturday too. But,
on the 10th.
On the 10th. But and it was great, a great crowd. I mean, it was a good view. And I mean, I think that's smart scheduling. And what's good about that is a lot of those kids that played in that game were going to be in this tournament.
We're going to be in this tournament.
So they had
their respective
they
high
know.
schools, right?
That's exactly right.
Yeah, but that was by far the biggest crowd. You know, we're talking about at the time Shady State champions, Beckley vying for state championships again.
Right.
With that middle school crowd. So yes, we're always looking at middle school teams. We're really trying to make sure that we have a handful of teams that are going to be competitive and things of that nature. But yes, we're open to adding the middle school teams back at any point.
Well, Mike, is there anything that I haven't touched on? Anything else that we need to talk about that maybe I have forgotten? Or Eric, anything you want to throw in at Mike, or anything else that we need to let our viewers and listeners know about this great event coming up January 5th through the 10th, the New River Community and Technical College Invitational? It's been a great event. Anything else, Eric, you want to touch on, or Mike, anything else you need to add on?
No, again, I just want to thank you all for having me, and I also want to remind your viewers that, again, this is the college's single largest fundraising event. This event, the whole purpose of this is to generate revenue, generate funds for student scholarships. So all of our sponsorships, every year we raise about $100,000 because of our sponsors and student scholarships, in addition to whatever revenue we generate at the gate. So again, you know, I humbly ask you not only to come out to enjoy the basketball, but come out and support student scholarships and student support of our students here at New River Community and Technical College.
And I only have one other thing to add. I deliver to the Beckley campus is top notch. I'm talking about state of the art. I mean, if you have a kid that doesn't know what he's doing yet, if you want to keep him home for for at least post grad 1 year, man, check into this facility. It's nice. It's top notch, state of the art.
Yeah. In fact, you know, our main producer and director got his start at New River Community and Technical College, the heavy hitter, Mr. Nick Eskins, and also Faith Alexander, who was with us at video production. She also was a student there as well. So we've had 2 New River students to come to work for video productions.
Yeah, and we have some great alumni. And I will tell you that we have over 60 programs. Of our 60 programs, 42 of them are eligible for West Virginia Invest, which means it's free tuition for students. So anything from cosmetology to aesthetics to business to cybersecurity, anything that you're interested in, please visit newriver.edu and take a look at those program offerings.
Yeah, because as expensive as college is getting to be, this is a great opportunity, like you said, to stay home. You could probably still live at home, and even if you don't live in Beckley, still a very easy commute to get to one of your campuses.
Yeah. We have 4 campuses. We have one in Lewisburg, Beckley, Summersville, and then our workforce program out in Gent, as well as a new location in Princeton. So yeah, we're excited about the path of New River and the opportunities that we're able to provide our students.
All right, before we wrap this up, we got to go back into football a little bit. We're going to go back to the National Football League, which we always talk. And Mike, we have this segment, our barking dog, and Eric and Regina have Tuck, and I haven't seen the barking dog. Normally he barks.
We had to send him on a little trip.
Oh, normally he barks when it's not his cue. He barks before we do the barking dog. We want him to bark when we have a barking dog. But what we do, Mike, is every week, and it's very tough to pick an underdog and see if that underdog cannot just cover against the number, but can win outright. And as we get deeper into the season, it's hard to believe only 4 weeks left in the NFL regular season. And both teams that made it to the Super Bowl a year ago are reeling. The Chiefs are reeling. They can't win the AFC West. The Eagles losing in overtime on Monday. They've lost 3 in a row. Dallas might even actually catch them. They're right there. These last 4 weeks, a lot of tough games. I don't know, Mike, if you've had a chance to look at the schedule or pay attention to that. I don't know if you have or haven't.
Well, you got me last year. I wasn't ready, but I'm ready tonight.
Okay. All right.
I'm ready for
All right. So hold that thought, Eric. I'm going to let you go first and see who your barking dog is. And by the way, Eric and I and Mike, we do not know what we're going to pick.
Yeah,
we might end up picking all the same 3 teams, or all 3 of us pick the same team, rather, but we do not discuss it, so we have no idea who we're going to take.
First of all, I want to recount my dog from last week because they truly let me down.
Yeah,
we're watching the game.
Bengals.
I had the Cincinnati Bengals getting 5.5 on the road at Buffalo, and I said, not only are they going to cover, I said they're going to win the game. I'm looking real good until Joe Burrow decides to throw a pick 6 that, I mean, just right threw it right to the guy, and I got up a little upset. Then we didn't tackle the quarterback for a 50-yard touchdown. That's unheard of. No one laid a hand on him.
But you actually covered because it was 39-34. It was 5.5, so you actually covered by the hook.
But
you actually covered, but you thought you had to do it.
wanting to win.
Right, because the Bengals led 28-18.
That's what they need to know. When I pick this dog, I'm actually thinking they're going to win.
Yes.
So this week, I'm going to put the jinx on a team that got destroyed last week. That's the Washington Commanders. I like them to go in This is the battle for last place. Get it? Last place in the division.
The losers.
The Commanders go in and throttle the Giants.
Yeah, the Giants are a 3-point favorite. All right, Mike, you're up.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow threw 2 interceptions late in that game that cost the Bengals. But I'm going back to Buffalo this week and taking the New England Patriots, who I could not believe that they were an underdog, but they're plus 1.5. So the New England Patriots and Drake May are my barking dog of the week.
And Mike, before I say, look who I wrote down. The New England Patriots.
Yep.
So I had New England too. Mike and I did not discuss this.
We did not.
When I first saw that, I thought New England should be the favorite. By the way, my younger brother Myron, who's a basketball coach, who you met Mike at my birthday party, he coached when he was coaching. He coached against Drake May. Drake May played for Myers Park in Charlotte, and my brother's team was playing against the team that he was on. So
nice jumper.
Yeah.
But
so,
he comes from a family of ballers.
Yes,
UNC,
that's right. Because all his other brothers were basketball
That's
players.
correct.
And he was a really good high school player. I mean, obviously, to be a quarterback in the National Football League, you got to be a pretty good athlete in high school.
6'6", whatever he is.
Yes.
A great athlete.
2 guard, great athlete. So 2 New England and 1 Washington.
Washington.
And I have to say it. If I don't win mine, I will be happy either way because I can't stand the Commanders.
That's between him and my brother Matt, because Matt's a big Washington fan. All right, Mike, before we say our goodbyes, any final thing you want to say about the New River CTC?
Again, thank you all for having me. January 5th to the 10th, 2026, 5 full days of basketball. Hope to see you out at the convention center.
We appreciate our sponsors, Window World, Modley's Plumbing and Heating, and Cracker Barrel. So for my partner, Eric Thomas, for Mike Green, I'm Maris Lowery, and this has been Season 2, Episode 16 of the podcast. You may not agree with us,
But
we hope everybody has a very happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, and a very happy New Year. I'll get it right.